Alright, what's up guys? I will get started here in a second. Alright, looks like Bitcoin is pretty weak, and we've got gap downs on Can and Riot, so potential momentum trades here, but I am more excited about the gappers. There wasn't a whole lot for, like, I actually had 0 on watch from last weekend into today, but Rito and CLSN are the top 2 that I'm watching for gap scan trades, and I've got XLB, CANF, and ATIF. Actually, there's quite a bit that I have on watch today, so let's just kind of jump right into it. So Rito is going to be should offer a very nice trade. You know, we're up 150, 200% at this point. On the daily, we've got really no volume, no resistance. You can see that the daily chart has been kind of curling and setting up for this huge gap day. We've had a previous gap and fail day. Obviously, the setup was different leading up to this gap day than it is today. That's why we have a ton of volume now. You know, they were bringing in some volume, some liquidity here, and then they curled it and then they shot it straight up. So that being said, today's gonna it's looking like even though it has a lot of volume, it's looking like it's trading very heavy. You can see the trend is still intact, but every time it tries to run, it pulls back. Tries to run, it pulls back. So what I'm thinking is, this is probably not going to be one of those that, has a huge squeeze and morning spike. Likely maybe retest some of these levels here at 330, fails, and then phase off. So I would like to short bounces after I see confirmed backside. Ideally, 10 a.m., 10:30, 11 a.m. plus, but that depends on the morning action. If we get a dump, that'll be an earlier entry. If we have a huge squeeze, we end up this ends up being a trap. Because if I'm thinking that this is heavy, so do a lot of traders, and they're probably attacking pops. And if they hold the support and they catch it and then squeeze it, there should be a nice morning spike. So that's why I want to stay patient on either way that it goes. But this is my top watch. CLSN. Not up a whole lot, maybe like 70%, or 80% at its highs. But what interests me is the daily. And here's what's interesting about it. You can see that it's had a 2-day run here. Okay, well, you can first see that it had a huge gap down. It has a huge gap between, basically $1 and $3. And then you can start seeing a little bit of volume start to come in, right? So the daily is like starting to set up for some kind of big move. And then its first attempt here, they brought in some liquidity, and they let it go. And now they have a 200 mil here of volume. Then they held it a little bit higher, and then they pushed it again, brought in some more liquidity, and then they pulled it again. And now I think today's going to be, I'm obviously I could be wrong, but I think today, it's traded 36 mil. I think today could be that big rip day, because there's going to be a ton of shorts piling in because they see that it fails every single time. But what they haven't like accounted for is the fact that they've created the liquidity and the trap to basically create a huge short squeeze, and that's what I think is going to happen on CLSN. So on this one, I'm going to be staying patient. And you can see that on the pre-market chart, they've trapped here. Short pops, and look at how this held. As soon as it touched the support, it just went to new highs like right away. No pullback between that. So I have a feeling that this one is going to become the spiker of the day. So I'll be looking for a 10:30 a.m., 11 a.m. plus type setup. Look for bounces and pops versus the high day. Ideally, if you just look at the daily, ideally we go into the $5, $6, $7 range in the morning. That'd be pretty perfect, but we'll see what happens. And then Zelb and Canf and ATIF, but more so Zelb and Canf are the two gap and crap setups. Daily has a lot of one-day moves. You can see that same type of daily. They've been buying it up a little bit. Hey, what's up, Nelson? Good morning. Do I ever go long? Maybe like 2% of the time. I rarely go long. So you can see that the daily on Zelb is pretty terrible. And if we look at, I can even pull up see if there's any dilution on it, and I'm sure there might be a little bit. Okay, there's actually literally nothing. But you can see they've been increasing their shares outstanding a little bit. So, but nothing to like give me any indication that they're selling hard. But they are selling. Maybe actually no. They don't even have any warrants. So yeah, there's no dilution on this, but the pre-market anyway. The pre-market chart has basically come all the way back down. It's given back the majority of its gain. So really, I would be looking for $3.50 to $4 tests, morning spikes, maybe V1 up area, and then risk pre-market high and fade it back down to probably the mid twos. Kevin, can you check Rito and CLSN dilution? Maybe in a bit. I have other ones to go over. Give me a sec on that. Cole, do I use hotkeys? No, I don't use hotkeys. I usually go a few entries, hopefully one entry. If not, then I'll go in with a couple, and I usually get out in one or two exits. So no need for hotkeys. I usually play big picture moves. I'm not a scalper, so I don't need hotkeys. Ness, do I often use high day as a guide to short and set your stop? It depends on the setup. Every setup is different, but yes, some of the times I use high day. And can't same exact thing. Daily is terrible, where they have a lot of failed spikers. I've traded this a lot in the past. Pretty much every time it has a decent gap, I've basically traded. But what this one likes to do is this one likes to spike at the open, or a little bit after the open, and test pre-market highs. So not in a hurry to get into this one, but I would be waiting for basically test and fail the pre-market high or wherever it goes to, and then attack the backside. So for you, it'd be the two would be Rito and CLSN. Yeah. ATF is an interesting one where it has the same setup where, you know, the pre-market chart has come down. What I don't like about it is the daily. As you can see, it's been bought up ever since this 200 mil day, and it's been slowly creeping up. So the daily is setting up for a huge move, and I don't want to be trading just the pre-market chart. I want to understand what the people who are running these stocks are trying to do, and to me, it's saying that, you know, they're going to try to squeeze it. The plan on this one is to just wait and see what they do with it. You know, if they squeeze it and then it fades off, then, you know, then so be it. But I do think that there's a chance that they could catch it, hold it like around VWAP or so, and then squeeze it. So like later, probably like morning, or not morning, but like midday to end of day type move. So not too interested in shorting this one. So if anything, this is a good long later in the day, I would say. And then VCNX I have on watch for just a fade, like a bounce short, if we can get any kind of move to $6 to $7. Wait for backside and then try to catch it, and then fade it, you know, likely down to $4. And then CCIV, Riot, and Can, more of a just watching for indication of what the market is doing and what Bitcoin is doing, I guess. Alright guys, I think that's it. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.